and grinders. Welcome. What the heck, you guys, to the Skate Tank MMA Hour with me, the greatest MMA journalist of all time, Ariel Hankwani, and my main mensch, New York Skate. We're here to cover the best in MMA and celebrity boxing, but mostly celebrity boxing this weekend, you guys, including a live in-studio interview with Verna Jandaroba and a video interview with my very good friend, Jacob Paul, who was not able to attend us here in NYC as he's currently writing up lawsuits with his dear brother Logan and cherished father Gregory. But before we get to that, give us some insight on how the Parlay Boys did yesterday, New York Skate. Come on, you guys. What do you got for us, Rick?
The Parlay Boys, Hank and Skatesman, didn't do so well. They didn't do so well. One of us barely got more right than wrong, and the other, he got one less than I did. So we did not.
That's impossible. Well, we have to put. We're mentions, man. We're Parlay Boys. We never get this wrong. We predict these things. We predicted the whole UFC lineup for the year. What the heck? Stop outing us, New York Skate. Come on. This is getting ridiculous. Why do I pay you the big bucks? I don't pay you them for nothing, New York Red. What a mensch. Anyway, let me tell you this, New York Skate. We actually did pretty good. If you consider being in the top 20 and the top 15 an accomplishment, we're at a higher number. Look at us, our handsome faces down here. Where the hell? Look at your number 12. I think my little nephew, he turned 12 the other day. So that's a very special number, New York Skate. And I'm in 20. I'm in my early 20s, man. That's the prime of your life. And look at here. Look at poor little Sean Moody. It's time to eat some crow, Sean Moody. This isn't golf rules, man. You got the same place in the tournament as your IQ, okay? It's single digits. So, good job for Sean Moody. You won this one, but Ariel Hankwani, I'm going to give you a receipt, Sean Moody. I'm going to send you that receipt and show you some old messages from back in the day, pal. You'll be sorry.
10-7 heel wanted.
10-7 Hankwani. Hankwani,
Anyway.
That's right.
Well, I'm wondering how long Hank's going to carry out the bit for. But
I'm sorry, what's going on?
Going into Hank Wani mood.
Oh.
Anyway,
So,
yeah, no,
sometimes.
we didn't do that great this week, but what's up, Bad MMA Math? Good to see you. That's kind of what we had, but top 12 is respectable. And again, every time I talk about this pick'em league here, it's full of some great fucking pickers. A lot of guys that know their shit really well. Sometimes we're two of those guys, but still haven't won an event this year. Looking to get our first event win sometime. I think I got 2 last year, but yeah, it's
look at who's here at number 2 for this tournament. Old Degenerate Dane, our buddy. He is kicking ass and chewing bubblegum, man.
He's a Las Vegas resident, and
makes sense.
He is a degenerate gambler. That's why I love the man, and he won him some money. Anytime he does good on that pick'em league,
he's making money.
He sends me screenshots. He probably cashed out like 2 G's on Saturday night. So
yeah, but we all have our kryptonite cards, and this was definitely one of them for me. But I had too many favorites, in my opinion. I should have sprinkled a little bit on some underdogs and had some faith in people who I thought would make it close fights, especially the Bruno Silva pick. I definitely could have swapped that. Doo Ho Choi, he's just been gone for so long. Maybe I should have had more insight into him almost beating Kyle Nelson, who dominated Bill Aljo. I mentioned that at one point. There are little things that are just like, it comes down to a feeling that you have, and I just don't get those feelings a lot of the time. So maybe I should trust my instincts a bit more when I note the weaknesses of guys that I'm picking. But
100%.
It is what it is. Yeah. Anyway, let's get on to our first segment of the evening. I got my locks for the weekend, and even though I got in 20th place for the tournament that me and Idaho like to partake in, I almost perfectly swept every single card that I had locks for this weekend. So Hank the Tank is still killing it in the lock game. Let's show the first one that I had. Junto Nakatani beat Vincent Astrolabio
by KO in under 3 minutes of round 1 in a boxing fight. Man thought he was in a fucking MMA octagon because he made just quick work and got him right out of there. And it was by a body shot as well. I wish that Body in that Paul versus Perry card was able to finish his opponent with a body shot, but I don't think it was able to because this guy did it for him and he didn't want to be some kind of copycat, you know? But Junto Nakatani, I said this when I was breaking this fight down. He's just really technical, and any boxer that I see going to the body a lot, I'm going to pick because he has good fight IQ and he knows that going to the body in a boxing match can be just as lethal as going to the head. And Nakatani knew that because he threw a few body punches straight out of the gate and knocked Vincent right the fuck out. And I could tell that Shakur Stevenson was seething from a million miles away watching this fight, being like, why can't I do that? When I hit a guy with a body shot, why doesn't he go down? Suffer and succotash. You know, that's what he was thinking. As the fans were leaving the building, he was thinking, why can't I be Nakatani? Why can't I be like, what's his name? The guy who almost... Oh my God, I'm having a brain fart. Holy crap. Lomachenko. Why can't he be like Lomachenko? Unfortunately, he'll never be like those two guys. But that's Shakur Stevenson's style. I'll go with it. But there are guys in Japan like Nakatani and Inoue that just get it done and head right back to the drawing board. So I did pretty well with that lock. Let's see the second one I had for second show. KSW, Cage Warriors. No.
Yeah, and there's some rumors of Junto versus Bam Rodriguez. I'd like to see that one for sure.
Oh, wait, what's the fight?
Junto versus Bam.
Ooh, that'll be fun. I love seeing Bam
sure.
Rodriguez in any fight. Next, we had Ivan Buchinger and Octagon 59 taking on Lucas Rajewski. I said that Buchinger was getting round 2 finishes. I said specifically round 2 KOs, but I'm going to cross that last part out and substitute finishes. And he kept on with that streak at least because he got Rajewski out of there. What was it that he got him out of there with? I think it was a standing Darce choke. He locked it up against the cage and like pulled a John Jones and absolutely slept him while they were standing against the cage. So that was a badass moment. And Buchinger was just swinging heat. He was throwing a bunch of head kicks, reverse shit. This guy is an all-around fun fighter to watch. So look out for Buchinger because he almost always delivers.
What a match. What a match.
What a match. Oh, Ivan Buchinger. I knew him from back in high school when we were both Buffalo Bills fans. And we got along due to our love of sports. And Buchinger was like, hey, I'm going to be an MMA athlete. I'm going to a gym. And I said, good luck with that, asshole. I'm going to be a journalist and make some real money. So I guess who won out this time, mensch? What a human matzo ball.
All right, we move on to my next lock. Let's see. He's a mensch. Hey, he's in the family business. He's good. What a guy.
In this thing of us.
Yeah. And then we had KSW, and this was the main event. I'm starting to realize, Skatesman, that a lot of my locks are hitting when I'm predicting these main events specifically because I got good insight into these guys' track records because they've had a lot of good fights at the highest professional level. So I think it's actually easier to pick them when it's the main events. But we had Powell Palak. Also, specifically, since it's KSW, almost every single title fight is against a guy who champions beat before. Like, they are running out of talent quick. It's still really fun to watch, but I had this right on the money. Powell Palak, he wins his fights by dominant decision. He's not exactly the most powerful guy in the world, but he's very technical, and he has enough skills that he can dominate his opponent over 25 minutes. And that's exactly what he did against a guy who he already beat by decision in Damian Janikowski. So, this was academic pretty much. Very easy to predict. Then we move on to our next one. And this was my special locks for the weekend. It was Cage Warriors. Cage Warriors, what number was it? Cage Warriors 174. We started with Giacomo Michelis beating Mush Aslani by knockout in round 2. This was one of those Cage Warriors cards where it's just stacked from top to bottom, and there are a bunch of fights. So usually when you get those kinds of super cards in Cage Warriors, you just start getting finish after finish after finish, and that's what this card was. It was one of the most exciting cards, I think, of the entire weekend because we were getting huge knockouts. We were getting submissions, multiple submissions in a row. All of them were coming out for blood, and they fucking got it for the folks over in was it in Ireland? I think it was in Ireland. But McKellis, he got the KO in round 2. He had won a bunch of decisions, but he proved me wrong, and he was even better than I thought he was. He got the round 2 KO. Then Amar Darcy, I told you about these regional women in MMA. They know how to finish fights. Once they actually get to the UFC, that's when all that power goes away. She beat Kamala Bertram. Also, they're facing Cam, so let's face it. It would be pretty easy for them to get a finish. She was driven for this one. It was in the nickname, and she got a round 1 KO in a women's fight. So happy fucking days. This is why you watch regional MMA. Oh, speaking of which, Riri Hudson beat Jennifer Triorio by round 1 KO in 13 seconds.
Wow.
Less than 20 seconds. These women are built different, dude. And also the cans that they're fighting are built different. And by that, I mean they're made of aluminum because they are just taking shots and then fucking crumbling. But she got in round 1 instead of round 2. So, again, proved me wrong. I love having these locks that are actually exceeding my expectations. It always feels good when you doubt them a little bit and think they can't get the job done, and then they just like prove you wrong in 5 seconds. It's a good feeling. That's why I felt like so thrilled when Jackson beat Blackshear. I went crazy for that one. And then we had the single lock that I got wrong here. Alessandro Giordano beat Michelle Marchignoni within the last 30 seconds of the fight. And I guarantee, I don't think I watched the fight all the way through, but from what I heard, Marchignoni was winning this pretty easily. But sometimes if you don't get the job done, the other guy's going to get the jump on you. And in this case, Giordano jumped on a guillotine. And he pulled a Dustin Poirier, and what do you know? The guillotine paid off. The guillotine is coming back, Idaho Skatesman. It is starting to finish fights again. So a horrible reputation had for.
Don't be silly. Jump the gilly.
Yeah, exactly. You gotta be a logical brain and jump the gilly. And it's either he gets out of it and you're on bottom, or you tap him. Hey, it's a good win percentage. After that, we had Jimmy Quinn beating Imad Boamri by KO. 1 minute. Round 1, dude. Cage Warriors was on fucking fire, dude. This is why I love Cage Warriors. There's no other promotion that gets other fighters out of there more quicker than Cage Warriors. It's like a fucking thrill ride. And they don't wait too long between fights, so it's not like it makes pacing an issue. It's fucking heaven on earth if you're an MMA junkie. Here we go. Another first round finish in Cage Warriors. Jordan Vucenic beat Adrian Kepa via round 1 submission. This guy's dominant. He's the champion in Cage Warriors, and he showed it. And those are all my predictions. Well, Jimmy Quinn, he actually had the knockout of the night in Cage Warriors because he pulled a Vinicius Oliveira, boom, jump knee, and put him right out. It was absolutely gorgeous, and Isha watched it live. He went crazy watching it. So that was the best highlight. It's nice to have a lock that gets in perfect fashion like that. So.
Good shit. Seems like it was a pretty good card.
Yeah, it was. Absolutely. I need to go back on Twitter and look at the replays again because it was really good. I'm spending most of my time watching Octagon just because City Life Project was streaming it. But you never miss a big stacked Cage Warriors card because it almost always delivers. The English know how to make it fun. Let's see. What else? I think we can move on to the Fight Night card now. We did absolutely rotten for this one, but our mediocre minds thought alike a lot of the time for this one, and we paid for it. But you know what? When it comes pay-per-view time, we are going to wipe our slate freaking clean. We're going to take the exact same approach we took to this card, and we're going to fucking sweep it because logic almost always prevails. Once in a while, you get a Fight Night card where it's a million upsets, but then you get the one right after that, and logic prevails. So I got a feeling it's going to be this one.
So first fight of the night was Thomas Peterson and Muhammad Usman. I had Usman. I thought he was going to be the more physically gifted of the two, and that was going to provide him a decision win. It did not. Denial, one of our good homies, during the fight, he told me that I guess the Thomas Peterson is that LFA heavyweight Guzzi. I guess it's his coach and training partner. So he performed really good. I mean, honestly, this fight was trash. Yeah. Thomas Peterson
had better shots.
He's shaped like a pear. Yeah, he did have better shots. Usman looked really tentative in there. He never really let his hands go. Not only that, he seemed to be kind of hitting nothing most of the time, just kind of
Yeah,
right outside the
exactly.
distance. And
Yeah.
that's really what provided Thomas Peterson the victory here. Usman largely did nothing, and can't believe I picked him.
Well, he had the Drew Dober fighting style where he's got very broad shoulders and muscles in multiple places, but it seems like it actually limits the movement so that he's just swinging at air and like he's accurate in terms of trying to find the mark. He's just a full foot away from his opponent. Like
Right.
he's maintaining accuracy, but horrible distance management.
Like
And
a
we
Macy
saw
Barber fight.
Mick Parkin, man. Mick Parkin exposed him. And honestly, this is a bad look for Mick Parkin because if Thomas Peterson can get him out of there, it makes that win against Usman look way less impressive. So I'd actually fade Mick Parkin in his next fight.
Next fight was Luana Carolina versus Lucy Pudilova. I actually thought in real time that Lucy got this one done. I don't know. I thought that she just locked up 2 rounds. I thought that the first round was clearly Luana's, but yeah, they gave the decision to her. I guess it was a close fight. Luana did a lot better work when they were striking. She seemed to land the more significant strikes, but Lucy kind of took over the grappling aspect of the fight, though she didn't really ever put anything too damaging or threatening in the case of submissions. But yeah, I mean, Luana advances, and perfect placement on this terrible, boring prelim portion of the card.
Yeah. I mean, anything that it becomes a terrible prelims, it has to be perfect placement when you're creating trash. So it's not hard to create trash. And here, I honestly watched the fight from start to finish, and I thought that Luana Carolina landed more shots than Lucy Pudilova. She had a lot of good body kicks, and I think a lot of her head kicks landed as well, even if they were like to the side of the head. Like, it's hard to put away these women's MMA fighters, but Carolina had some pop in her shots. I was listening to it, so maybe that could have affected the judging a little bit. It just seemed to me like Carolina had a bigger output than Lucy Pudilova did, and she was landing more. Pudilova had some good shots, and I think her main problem was that she didn't get Carolina down early enough in the rounds. Like, she was getting her down at the last minute of the first round, or she's getting her down like 2 minutes away from the end of the round, and then Carolina's getting up halfway through. It's like she needed better timing to shoot her takedowns. I think that's what lost her the fight.
Yeah, next fight was Trey Ogden defeating Loic Radzhabov. From the opening bell, Trey Ogden had the jump on Loic, who I thought was going to be the better grappler here. And he was kind of ragdolling him the first round. I think he racked up a lot of control time. I don't have the stats in front of me, but yeah, he was really successful in the grappling. I said Loic would grind out the decision. That was Trey Ogden. He even had a couple chokes in on him at a few points. Never was able to really get it. But, I mean, I wouldn't say Loic, looked trash in there necessarily. He had his moments, but, yeah, it was largely an easy decision win for one Mr. Trey Ogden. And what is up, Kobe, my friend?
The only time that Radzhabov did well in this fight was round 2, and that's just because he was keeping it on the feet. But anytime that Ogden got him down, he was like Radzhabov was like a fish out of water. He just didn't know what he was doing. Not as bad as Despain. He was trying to get up, but Ogden was really good at keeping him down and keeping the leg sweep, and just whenever he had a chance to get up against the cage, he just dragged him right back down. So if anything, I was even more impressed with Ogden's grappling. But usually it's Ogden's striking that I'm impressed with. So it seems to me like he's getting very well-rounded of a fighter, and I'm not going to fade him anymore going into his future fights. But it's a Dagestani, so you always
not only that, it's 155. This is the deepest division in the sport, so anything can happen, just as I said on the preview stream. But I totally agree with that take. He definitely impressed me with his grappling chops, especially against Loic, who I consider to be a strong grappler. So the next fight was Miranda Maverick versus Dione Barboza. This went pretty much exactly how I thought it would go. Miranda with more tools, just better all around. Dione, she did throw some arm bars out there that made Miranda a little more hesitant to advance position and things like that. But, I mean, largely a pretty unimpressive performance from Miranda Maverick, if you ask me. And the card was really starting to drag at this point.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it'll redeem itself soon, but we're getting into the thick of the trash here. With this fight, Maverick reminded me a lot of Jasmine Jasuda Vicious, where she's not very good at the striking. She
Her
keeps,
last loss, actually.
yeah, she keeps getting pieced up. Like it just cannot equal the output or the technique of Dion Barbosa, which is actually really sad to say because she looked like shit in her last fight on the feet. But Maverick was getting pieced up, and then she was able to get the takedowns like Ogden did on Loic Radzhabov, and that's what won her the fights. Like Maverick was not able to lock in that many submission attempts either. I think that there was one point where she almost got an arm triangle in. They almost always do almost get an arm triangle in. That'll be completed later in the card, but for now, that's all she could manage when she was on top, making this a really rotten affair. I just remember at one point Maverick was just punching her to the ribs. She couldn't even punch her in the head.
Yeah.
Like, it was just hard.
Body, head.
Yeah, body, head. Oh, yeah. Bilal! I'm gonna beat you, Leon Edwards. I'm gonna take you down and carpetbag you. I'm from Chicago. Hey! I'm the St. Valentine's Day Massacre when I'm through with you.
But, Miranda Maverick in this contest really showed me why she's not at the top of the heap when it comes to 125. Just can't do enough to beat those top tier women's fighters in this division, which I would consider this division to be the best women's division in the sport at the moment. And,
Really?
100% over strawweight. Strawweight has lost that crown.
Since Verna Jandaroba came to town.
No, not necessarily. It's just, I don't know. Really, it's just not deep enough. The prospects at 125 are pretty strong. And
yeah, I mean, Zhang Weili has been a very dominant champion.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's kind of Zhang just kind of cleaning the division out, really.
Yeah. Hey, I won't complain because Zhang Weili is one of my favorite female fighters of all time. But for the division as a whole and its health, yeah, it's pretty bad. It's never good when somebody's reigning too long.
Sure. The next fight was Cody Gibson defeating Brian Kelleher via submission of round 1. This was the arm triangle that Hank the Tank was talking about. From the jump, man, Cody Gibson was all over Brian Kelleher. And there was a huge size advantage that he had as well. And not only that, Brian Kelleher looked really small. Not just small as in his height, but just in his musculature. Like I don't know what's going on with Brian Kelleher, man. And honestly, man, the way that he was dominated in this contest, I think it's time for this veteran of 40 fights. This was his 40th fight. I think it's time to hang it up, man.
Yeah,
but on the flip, this is one of Cody Gibson's better looking performances in the UFC, and actually in many years, if you ask me.
True.
But Cody Gibson got it done, got the sub. Wasn't expecting that, and I wasn't expecting it so quick at that.
Mm-hmm. I didn't expect it either. If anything, I expected him to get a submission in round 3, given how much he grinds his way to like decision wins. But I did say that he was able to get the back of Miles Johns, which is a really impressive feat in hindsight, given how much Miles Johns was able to dominate his last fight. But we said that he'd have a really good pressure game. He'd have a height advantage. Kelleher's got a too lanky frame, in my opinion. He looked just sort of weak in there against Cody Garbrandt, and I just thought he'd look the same here. And that's sort of what happened, man. It's sad to say. I will say that Brian Kelleher had the what's his guillotine called?
Boumatine.
The Boumatine. He had the Boumatine almost locked in at one point, but whenever it's just not cinched in tight enough, eventually the head just pops out, and all of a sudden you're at a disadvantage. Sometimes it works for certain fighters, as we'll get to later on in the card, and sometimes it doesn't. And when Gibson was on top, he took full advantage, and he's a good wrestler and grappler in that he knows exactly how to lock in a submission and can do it quickly. Because anybody worth their salt and grappling should be able to get an arm triangle in about 2 minutes, and that's what he was able to do. So, excellent work.
Next fight, and this was the contention of the card between Hank and I. Hank had Lee. I was riding with Hyder Emil. Like I said, he showed me some good things in his last fight, in which he was an underdog, and he was an underdog here, and he delivered the goods. This was a scrappy one for as long as it lasted. And Hyder Emil just pieced up Jeong Young Lee. He hit him with some clean shots early on. But, this Lee, he's a young kid. he's got a hell of a chin, man. He didn't go down.
Yeah, for like
He
a
got
30
rushed
minutes,
by
30
Hyder
seconds.
Mill and stopped. Referee saw enough, and
Big enough.
geez, man, Hyder Mill looked great, but I'm not sure what his future holds.
Yeah, I don't think we can actually take that much from this fight, given that it
Sure.
didn't last very long and it was almost all of them trading and just hoping that one of them lands the better shot of the two of them. In some ways, I could have predicted that Zhang Young Lee is always like the aggressor when it comes to the strike, and he's always just lunging himself forward and trying to find good timing on big power shots. I don't think he expected Hyder Emil to like play the exact same game that he did, because he was swinging back and forth. He didn't give a shit if he was getting knocked out. It reminded me of Brian Battle versus Gabe Green, if you watch that fight, where just nothing but trading, and then one of them got a better shot. And up against the cage, this was like Sanchez versus Clay Guida. It reminded me of it. They were going fast enough, and they were at a lower enough weight class that felt like it was in fast motion. But Hyder Emil got the better of the shots. Zhang Young Lee, I got to criticize him for not just getting out of there eventually when he realized that he was hurt, and trying to actually run or pull a Chelsea Chandler and try to get on the track shoes and run to the other side of the cage. Do something. Don't just let him fucking hit you like a brick wall. That's what he did. He relied on his chin, and eventually that chin betrayed him. So that's on Zhang Young Lee. Maybe he'll develop some better fight IQ in the future, but I doubt it with his aggressive style. It's a shame.
Do you have somebody you'd like to see him up against next?
Who, Hyder Emil?
Yeah.
I don't know. You could pull up the UFC rankings on Tapology, and we could.
Well, I got the rankings here pulled up on Tapology. Currently, and he's going to move up from this. They have him ranked 66th. 65 actually being Steve Garcia. I imagine both of them will move up quite a bit in the rankings.
I wouldn't have Hyder Emil against Steve Garcia. I don't think that's the matchup to make.
I mean, that'd be a banger, but
You would.
some names above him include Melsik Bagdasarian, and these are I'm only going to list people that don't have fights booked. Melsik the Gun Bagdasarian, who actually I think fought recently, if I'm not mistaken, or I think he was supposed to fight recently, but the fight got strapped. Jesus Pinedo, Julio Arce. Go to the first page here.
Maybe a fight with Josh Kalibau would be pretty good.
I think Kulibau's a little high up in the rankings.
Okay.
There was the Felipe Lima guy who fucking had a great performance.
Wait. I got an idea, Skatesman. How about Shailon Nuerdenbeke? If anyone's gonna freaking throw, it's gonna be him in that fight.
I think he's coming off of a loss.
Okay. But I'm saying in terms of like the action, if we like this fight, that would have just been back and forth, who gets the best shot,
Let's see. Juicy J. Yeah, I mean, honestly, whoever he's in there with, it'll be good. And the thing is, what's up? Still here
maybe Julio Arce, maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the thing is he's 34. So he's going to have to get moved up the rankings
relatively quickly.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm like, dude, Steve Garcia might be a good fight for him.
Maybe, but I think Steve Garcia would knock his ass out.
Even like a Duho Choi, but yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Kulibau is booked against Ricardo Ramos currently, but yeah, I mean, we're spending a little bit too much time on.
Wait, let's read Bad MMA Math's comments he sent our way.
Yeah, I pulled them up on the screen and I read them, so I don't.
Sorry.
Yeah. Anyway, the next fight on the card was, speaking of Duho Choi defeating Bill Algeo KO at 3 minutes 38 seconds of round 2. This was the feel-good moment of the card. Bill Algeo put up a hell of a fight. This was a damn good fight. Hit him with some spinning back fists. He largely controlled him in the grappling in the first round. And Duho Choi was I was like, damn, this might be the end of Mr. Choi. But second round started, and his boxing started looking insanely crispy. I was like, ooh, I think Bill Algeo might be in trouble here. He kept up with the unorthodox striking, hit him with some nice, really clever shots, if you ask me. He kept going for the spinning shit. But all it takes is one. And exactly as MMA Math said, Algeo was doing good until he just wasn't. Exactly. Hits him with that left hook. think it was right hand. I think it was a right hand actually.
It was right hand. It was right over the orbital, and that's why.
Yeah, and it hit Bill Algio's eye, and he was like nah, and he fell to the mat. Doo Ho Choi followed up with one shot. Didn't put him out, but the referee had seen enough, and
Turb Dean's fault
was a good stoppage. I mean, honestly, I was kind of bummed, and at the time, I was like, damn, Bill Algio kind of quit there, but I mean, how can you not fucking just feel great for Doo Ho Choi? His first win in 8 years.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this first round and the second round because even though Bill Algio was doing good in that first round, it was mostly through the grappling. Like he was getting Choi down. A lot of the time, Choi was like looking up at the clock, like, "Oh my god, how much time do I have left? How do I get out of this?" So I never felt like he was in trouble. Like he wasn't getting pieced up in there, but he was getting out muscled. But he was able to get up during certain moments in round one and even turn the hold around, and he landed some good shots in round one. So there was a point. I felt like the tide was turning in Choi's favor in round one as soon as he started getting into the Muay Thai clinch and then hitting Algio with those knees. And one of those knees actually just stumbled him, and he went down to one knee afterwards. Now, obviously, fighters do that because you can't knee a grounded opponent, which, by the way, that might get interesting in the future. Don't know if it'll apply to the UFC, but the unified MMA rules set, it seems like they're squeezing in knees to grounded opponents as an option for promotions that otherwise wouldn't be allowing them. So
I don't know what you're talking about. I have no idea what you're talking about.
No Chill mentioned it.
It's not even close to what the post was. Okay, the post was saying it's about the planted hand. Okay, It's about planting a hand. Right. They said that they would change the unified rules. Has changed the rule that planting one hand down does not constitute a grounded opponent.
Okay, but does getting down on one knee?
One knee or both hands is still a grounded opponent. I have no idea how you interpret that into knees on the ground.
Okay, I'm sorry. Well, I'll do my research one more time, and I'll.
I'm just saying, like it's people. And it's not just you. It's people have been like, oh, this is gonna change the game. It's like, no, it fucking isn't. This is already a rule in some jurisdictions. By the way, the UFC does use the unified MMA rules in certain jurisdictions, and that's the problem with athletic commissions being different all across the country. Some use a different rule set entirely. Like it's pretty similar, but one big point of contention has always been that grounded opponent rule. Some jurisdictions it's one finger. Tip of a finger is a grounded opponent. Some it's both hands. So they're just saying, hey, you know what? One hand on the ground doesn't constitute a grounded opponent. That's all that the rule set has been changed.
So this is basically just an attempt to avoid another Chris Weidman.
Yeah, right? Or I mean, I think that's. I mean, I don't know. I don't give a shit. You know what? They should just fucking do away with that dumb fucking rule. And the 12-6 elbows is fucking stupid. Yeah. John McCarthy was sitting in a room with all of these commissioners to form, the first UFC event. And in the famous words of him, he had to just let them have certain things. They said, hey, that's too vicious. And he was like, all right, man, whatever.
So anyway, so he was able to get some knees. That grounded Algio for a second. And so I thought, okay, it looks like Doo Ho Choi's in the fight going into round two. I started to get a little less scared for him. And then after round two, I think Doo Ho Choi started to put the pieces together and knew what his strategy was to win, because then he just started getting into the clinch and started kneeing Algio more. And until eventually Algio entered the state that he usually gets when he's rocked, where he's starting to just be on skates a little bit and back up a little bit and just be wobbly. He doesn't take damage very well. He's sort of like Robert a little bit, where he gets hit with a big punch and then, you can tell that he's hurt. Like he doesn't feign it. He doesn't feign like, oh, that didn't hurt me very well. And as soon as Choi knew that he was hurt, he pounced on him and hit him with a beautiful right hand. That crumbled him. I think I said at one point it looked like Barbosa versus Burgos, but upon closer inspection, no, it took literally 1 second, and then he felt it, and he was like, oh god, nope, I'm done. That was actually sort of funny. I wouldn't be surprised if somebody makes a gif of that, and he's just like, no, That'd be funny. You could use that in different situations. But beautiful win for Doo Ho Choi. My happiest moment on the card because I've enjoyed Doo Ho Choi since his 2016 fight with Cub Swanson. I've looked back. I love his power. I love his technique. And I feel like he's gotten a bad break a lot of the time in the UFC. As a Korean fighter, Idaho's mentioned this. It's just tough when you get installed to do mandatory service for the Korean army, and it often like backtracks a lot of these guys' careers, and then they come back and they're different fighters. But thank God that's not the case for Doo Ho Choi, and it seems like he's improving a little bit. And again, I said this, if it wasn't for an accidental headbutt, I think he would have beaten Kyle Nelson. So Doo Ho Choi, he's only 33. He's in good shape. So he might be able to go on a little bit of a run, and I can't wait to see that. Because
speaking of that, I mean, who do you want to see next for him?
I was actually looking ahead of time at this. I think a good fight for him could be maybe Fernando Padilla. He got a submission recently. He's a grappler guy, so it's a classic striker versus grappler matchup. That might be good. Also, maybe Pat Sabatini as well. Given that he's looked good against wrestlers, so might have a classic. And then one more, just for nostalgia's sake, Darren the Damage Elkins. Uh-oh. He didn't like that one.
No, not at all. I mean, Darren Elkins is damaged goods. I don't even think he's in the UFC anymore, honestly. I haven't seen that guy in a long time.
Yeah, but so they need to get him out of the ring.
I mean, the problem is that they're going to want to push Doo Ho Choi.
Yeah, I think that's why I think Fernando Padilla would be pretty good because he's number 37 right now.
Hey, what's going on, Andrew B?
That wouldn't be bad.
Yeah, I mean, what I was going to say is they're going to want to push him. The question is how far and how fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
One thing you got to realize is he hasn't had a win in 8 years. He was on a losing streak, had a draw. I think it was a no contest. But, I mean, I would, if I was to guess the UFC's choice here, I think they would probably want to bump him up in the rankings a little higher against somebody that's looked a little better recently than the likes of, especially fucking Darren fucking Elkins.
He did get a win in his last fight.
I mean, anyway.
Maybe Andre Touchy-Feely or David Onama.
I was thinking the Feely fight. Feely, he's another guy who's up and down. Onama, yeah, somewhere in the 25 to 20 range for sure.
Yeah, that's a good direction.
You are like just totally against matching up people with Nate the Train. Yeah. I think that would be a banger, though. That'd be a fucking banger.
Oh, yeah, it'd be a great fight. But I want to see Nate take another crack at the rankings just because he's got such a personality. I want to see him in a post. I want to see him at a pre-fight press conference.
Maybe Feely would be better because he's actually had some of the higher ranked opponents. And,
right.
But, yeah.
Feel good moment of the night. Feel good
for sure, 100%. How could you not feel good for this guy? And Korean Zombie in his corner, too.
Yeah. They were glistening with tears, like they were moist-eyed. They were very happy that they got this win, and I was happy that it was Zombie who was there to appreciate the win with them. Korean legends got to stick together.
The next fight was Bruno Silva knocking out TKO Cody Durden. This was amazing. This fight was fucking sick.
Crazy.
And I was thinking before the card started, I was like, heavyweight overs, flyweight under. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
This was a fucking banger. I mean, Cody Durden was on fucking Bruno Silva from the jump. He looked amazing. He was just going in sharp, but sort of like Anthony Smith. I mean, he just has a killer first round. He looks fucking great. All his techniques are just flying, and he's doing well. And then somewhere in the second round, Bruno Silva started to switch things around, turn the tide, and geez. I mean, he just turned the tide, did he? He fucking uppercutted Cody Durden.
No, did he?
Knocked his mouthpiece out and just flurried him on the ground. I was like, fuck, they stopped it, you know?
Yeah.
But then I saw when they stopped it, Cody Durden was like kind of still like, wait, what the fuck's going on?
He's still out of it, yeah. So
yeah, and I was like, okay, great fucking stoppage there. And geez, Bruno Silva looked fucking I mean, he looked like
he looked bad until he didn't. He looked bad until he didn't.
He looked like shit in the first round, but boy, did he fucking switch it around. And fantastic fucking win for Bruno Silva.
Yeah, I mean, some fighters just know how to switch on. know how to get into game mode and not allow themselves to get hit anymore. They know that they got to unleash that killer instinct if they have any chance at winning. It was sort of the case with Luik Radzhabov against Al Suwaidi when he was down 2 rounds and then bam, just knocked the guy out. And here, I was really impressed with Cody Durden's stand-up. He was actually hitting Silva with some really good jabs and 1-2s, and like if anyone was getting the better of the striking in round 1, it was Cody Durden, even beyond just like the takedowns. Obviously, Cody Durden's grappling was super impressive, just relentless pressure, sort of like Colby Covington a little bit. And when a guy's just getting up, he finds a better position and tries to keep on locking in submissions, which might have been to his detriment here. There was one point in round 2 where I swear he locked in a Darce like 3 times. Got out of it. He tried something else. He got out of it. He went for a guillotine. He got out. He got really close with the submissions too. Like there were points where I was like, oh, that is in tight. Oh my God, he's got the legs around Bruno Silva's legs. He's going to tap. And then somehow, some way, that little Brazilian's chin just would not get squeezed enough for him to tap in that second round. And eventually, once he found his way out and he got to his feet, like he just realized, I got to knock this guy out or it's game over for me. It's already like a couple minutes left in round 2. And if I don't do anything here, he's going to be up 2 rounds. And so, bam, just hit him with the right hand, sent him flying, down he went. And I feel bad for Cody Durden because this was a fantastic performance but he might have gassed out a little bit. Wrestling tends to do that even to the athletes, and so he might have been a little bit out of it before.
Might need to learn how to pace himself in the future. The problem with this weight class is it's so top heavy, and there's not a lot of flyweights in the UFC. So really, where to go next for a past his prime, a little bit of an aging flyweight in Bruno Silva? That's really the question here.
Isn't he still like ranked number 15 in flyweight?
They have him 13 here on Tapology. Cody Durden, let me see. It was around that 15 range. So, yeah, dude, Tagir is above him. You got guys like Nicolau Perez, Steve Erceg, Manel Kopp, both have fights booked. There's Tetsuro Taira, but he's on a really, really long win streak. I don't think that really makes sense. Tetsuro Taira needs to move up in the ranking.
Here's the thing, man. If Manel Kopp ends up being out in that UFC 304 fight, which there have been rumors of it, I don't know if they're confirmed or not, but he went from like the main card to the prelims, and so some more strange shenanigans are happening with Manel Kopp, and if he's not able to be there for UFC 304, that might be the opportunity for Bruno Silva to sort of get in there and have a fight with him.
That needs to be a Miro Bazzi spot, if you ask me.
Okay. Well, maybe I'd put him up against Nicolau.
Nicolau did get viciously KO'd. I think I would rather. The problem is Alex Perez is injured. Oh my gosh, this division sucks.
It stinks. Cut it. Destroy it.
I think he's gonna have to fight down. Maybe give him Asu Amabayev.
Okay.
They're on similar schedules. I think that's probably the fight to make. But
yeah.
For all we know, he'll be fighting a fucking newcomer from the Contender Series or a guy on a fucking week's notice. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, bad MMA math as a take.
Yeah, I've just pulled it up. I'm on it. He says,
"Hey, Jamie, pull that up, Jamie. Hurry up."
He said, "I was happy to see Durden chinned." I don't like the Wally, but he's a good fighter. Thought he had it in the bag. Yeah, Cody Durden hasn't done himself a lot of favors with some of the things that he says.
He's been up to.
Understandable. The guy's kind of a dickhead, whatever.
Too based for his own good.
The next fight was Kurt Holobaugh defeating Kenan Krzyzewski via decision. This was a damn good fight.
Yeah, good.
Kurt Holobaugh, the guy's relentless, man. I got to give him that. I faded him in this one. He proved me wrong. The guy's fucking relentless. Always in your face. High-paced fight. Always makes it a scrappy fight, too. Kenan, though, on the other hand, he looked good in spots, but I think by like round 2, I was like, dude, this guy's already gassed. And Kurt Holobaugh wasn't looking like he had the greatest cardio in there either. Yeah. But against the older guy like Kurt, I was just kind of shocked how gassed Kenan looked. And I think somebody in our preview stream was like, dude, I think this guy might be a fraud. And
yeah, he was right.
I think that maybe even the fraud check might be in order here because, I don't know what the fuck this guy is doing in the UFC. Just filling in space on the roster at 155 there. I don't know.
He hit the nail on the head with how this fight was going to go. We faded Kurt Hallbaugh because he got pretty much dominated by Trey Ogden. But as we saw with his performance on this card, like that's not a bad loss to have. Trey Ogden, he's not a threat. I wouldn't call him a threat, but he's a solid, very consistent fighter. Knows how to win. He's a tricky guy to deal with, and so we should have taken that into account. But his follow-up fight here with Kanan, Hallbaugh was the better striker of the two, which I did not expect. I thought that Hallbaugh's strength would be like Kanan trying to take him down and Hallbaugh being able to reverse it and get on top. And that's what Hallbaugh did. He was really good at the scrambles in this one too. Like when Kanan was trying to get him into chokes, I think there were like 3 or 4 times that Hallbaugh got his head out of bad submissions and kept himself on top too, and was just laying ground and pound onto Kanan and doing the right thing. Like I always encourage these fighters that when they're on top, the main priority isn't to lock in a submission, is to get damage off, because it's very hard for judges to determine the round on damage when it's like a stand-up contest. So it's better to just be on top and throw strikes, and that'll leave a better impression on the judges than what you did on the feet. But Kurt Hallbaugh, he was just really technical here, and he had relentless pressure, just like you said. But I really liked his technique, and his distance management was fantastic. I thought Kurt Hallbaugh was up 2 rounds going into the 3rd round. Kanan tried to make it close. He did get Hallbaugh down during certain instances, and he did get the back. But like Kudalova against Carolina was far too late in the 3rd round, and like even while he had his back taken, Hallbaugh was still raining down like back fists, and that made for a fun finish to the fight as well. It's sort of strange. Like sometimes you have 2 guys who are absolutely washed going into the 3rd round and absolutely exhausted and gassed, and you're like, oh god, this fight is so boring now. But it actually helped in this instance. It was more like a Lawler versus Condit, where they're both exhausted, but they're still able to get the shots off, and so it feels like a war.
And not only that, Kurt had actually hurt Kanan in a few instances too. You could see he was like visibly rocked and stumbly.
Yeah, he's got sting in his shots. So,
by the way, what's up, No Chill? Good to see you. Glad you were able to join the show last night.
He sucks.
It was good.
He sucks. He's entering his Kurt Hallbaugh phase.
But yeah, I mean, I'm not going to matchmake for Kurt Hallbaugh next. 155 is deep enough. They'll get him in there pretty quick. Don't bring your family to the fights next time.
Yeah, that I didn't like. That was the one mistake that he made in this fucking fight.
The next fight was Steve Garcia defeating Sung Woo Choi. I said that this could end in the 1st round. To be fair, I also did say it could end in the 3rd. I was feeling 2nd, but as I said, Sung Woo Choi was really willing to accommodate Steve Garcia in a stand-up battle here, much to his detriment. Once Steve Garcia had landed his right hand, it was pretty much all she wrote. Steve Garcia this guy is on like one of the longest active knockout streaks in the UFC.
Yeah, and win streaks at featherweight as well. He's now in like the top 5 with the biggest win streaks.
And he just kind of ran right over poor Sung Woo Choi here. But again, he's kind of an older featherweight and a guy that I feel like we still don't really know all that much about. So his prospects moving forward are interesting. But yeah, I mean, not too much to say. I mean, the fight was over in a minute and a half.
Yeah. Garcia, the mean machine, just has power in his fists, and he knows how to connect with them. I really blame his knockout here on Sung Woo Choi. I think his boxing defense was absolute garbage in this one, because Garcia kept landing with the exact same shot, TJ Dillashaw style, and Sung Woo Choi just was not able to get his guard up when he was throwing looping shots to the left, and he just got hit like 4 or 5 times with the exact same left hand, and that just sat him down. So I blame Sung Woo Choi's negative boxing defense and negative fight IQ more than I do, Steve Garcia, he put on a masterpiece here. No, he looked like Steve Garcia. Sung Woo Choi looked worse than he did in his last fight. So I think he's on a steep decline, and that's what basically resulted in him getting knocked the hell out in just fucking round 1. I don't think we learned too much more about Steve Garcia in this fight. He just has power, man, and he knows how to put it on, and he knows how to apply pressure and make sure that he hits you with a good shot, which actually sort of reminds me of Ilya Taporia a little bit, in that he just makes sure that he's in your face and that he's hitting you with something. It's like constantly moving forward. That could be his detriment if he's against somebody who's really good at counter striking and knows how to time him when he's coming in. But that was not Sungwoo Choi here. So an L for the Korean fighter.
Yeah, and the thing is you got to give him someone more experienced, someone that's got a better, more well-rounded game for me to really gauge like how far he's going to go here. But as far as like a contender or like, you know, I don't know, man. But this guy's definitely dangerous, and I'm excited to see what he does next for sure.
Yeah, I just want to see him get another nasty knockout. This guy's fun to watch and very reliable as well for picks. Like I'm gonna have start Steve Garcia as a lock in his next fight, no matter who it is, because I got a lot of faith in him.
Oh, by the way, what's up, Denial, my good friend, and yeah, thanks for mentioning that Thomas Peterson is training partners with Goodsy. I did not know that.
Goozy! We shouldn't have faded him, man. He was with the Goozy.
Our next fight was the main event. Verna Jandiroba defeating Amanda Lemos via submission and nice, nasty armbar in round
from
2.
a nice, nasty woman.
Right at the end of the round. I mean, the fight was good, man. It was good. There was a lot of scrambles going on, lots of scrambly things happening.
Mm-hmm.
Verna largely controlled this fight, though, even though she was on bottom a few times. I don't know, man. I mean, Amanda Lemos and Verna, respectively, are getting up there in age. But, geez, I mean, this is what this event needed, man, was a
quick end to a 5-round women's main event.
100%, man. And she delivered, and the UFC did well on this terrible booking of this terrible card. And by the way, he says he had Lemos and KO in the round, and Jandiroba got the sub. Yeah, I mean, obviously Lemos is the more powerful striker, but Verna Jandiroba, man, I mean, she's got decent striking as well. The only thing that I was concerned about in this fight is I thought that Verna Jandiroba has a game much like Mackenzie Dern, but the biggest difference, and it was really shown in this fight, is the pace that Verna Jandiroba is able to put on her opponents. Yeah, man, she looked great in there. What say you, my friend?
In a way, this sort of reminded me of Jordan Levitt versus Chase Hooper, where it wasn't a lot of striking going on. It was just who can out scramble the other and get the others back or put them into submission holds. So it was just a lot of scrambles, man, which I enjoy. Like what was the fight? I remember there was this one girl who I picked because she was always able to take her opponent down, and she Ailin Perez. I think it was Ailin Perez. She had a fight with this Jocelyn Edwards. That was it. And they were just take her down. Oh, she reversed. She gets on top. She takes the back. Ailin Perez gets up, takes her down. Like, oh my God, tic-tac-toe, connect 4. Who's going to fucking get the submission first? And so that's what this felt like. And Jandiroba was the grappler of the two. Honestly, I feel bad for Lemos, but at the same time, she just should have kept this on the feet and found a way to knock her out, because I think that was the only way that she was going to get a win here. I will say there was a point where she got really close with that back take, but she didn't have the technique to fully like latch everything in. So
she had a choke in, right?
Yeah. But you know, Jandiroba's too much of a genetic freak to tap. She's got those Raul Rosas Jr. genes, if you know what I'm saying. It's got to prevent her from tapping. She just can't. She's built different. Literally, she's built different. And she got that. I think what did she go for at first? I think Jandiroba went for like a rear naked choke at first, and Lemos scrambling with the hands. And instead, Jandiroba did something brilliant, and she just got in for the armbar, like Ronda Rousey style, and she just tapped her like that. So she actually looked phenomenal in this. And I don't care if you know there's the face. We make jokes about it. No chill, especially. But dude, if she keeps having some nasty submission finishes, I got to give her flowers and her respect, because she was able to get a finish in a women's fight.
Well,
so
I'm gonna give it to her now, man. This performance shows me that she needs to have a title fight next, regardless of who wins the next. I don't even remember when that. I think it's booked. I think Zhang is booked, but
against two.
I have no fucking idea.
It's interesting. Like I should confirm if Zhang Weili is facing Tatiana Suarez or not, because if she's
that's right. That's right. We don't know what the fuck is going on with Tatiana Suarez. That's really who should be fighting.
If she's not booked against Tatiana, I'd actually have a number 1 contenders fight between those two to see who's the better grappler. That would actually be sort of a fun fight, don't you think?
Shit, dude. Weili is not booked right now, and maybe there's an announcement coming soon. I mean, she did. when did she did fight this year?
She
against
fought
Yan
Yan Xiaonan. And that's a great fight on UFC 300 where she got
Oh,
knocked down.
300. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that is a great point. I don't know what the fuck is going on with Tatiana Suarez. And the problem is does the UFC really want Tatiana as their champion? Obviously, on paper, yeah, of course you want Tatiana Suarez as your champ to get the next title shot. But
Right.
just somebody who maybe is too inconsistent. And Verna Jandiroba has been very active. And
Yeah.
I wouldn't be bothered with her getting a title shot over Tatiana because I don't know what the fuck is going on with that girl.
Yeah, you got to give it to the contenders with the hustle, man, who are hungry, who
100%.
want that title shot. But yeah, what a solid card, dude. Like, I would actually give it like an 8.5 to a 9 out of 10. I'm being serious. Like, from the end of the prelims onward, it was flawless, near flawless.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not giving the UFC that much credit. They got to.
No, well, I'm not going to give the bookers credit. Obviously, they tried their hardest to make this the worst card on paper they possibly could. But you got to give it to the fighters. When they have good performances, they seem to get them out of the fucking fire sometimes. And they were able to do it for 2 fight nights in a row, which is actually kind of infuriating because now the UFC is just going to keep doing what it's doing. And just like, oh, yeah, we're going to have great cards regardless. We can just put all this shit in the Apex and it'll be a masterpiece.
It's a badass fight. If you don't
This is a badass fight. What a card. And if you don't know, now you know.
So we're going to move on to Jake Paul versus Mike Perry. But I want to talk about Julio Cesar Chavez defeating Uriah Hall in a terrible boxing match. It was kind of interesting, just to see the back and forth. And Uriah just really why he shouldn't really be a professional boxer. He did have a win in boxing, but it was against Le'Veon Bell, who I believe is a football player. Julio Cesar Chavez finally getting a win and a respectable performance from him. He struggled with Uriah in the beginning, but he was dominating the fight in the beginning, and he kind of tapered off towards the end. This was a 8-round contest, I believe, and
6 rounds.
yeah, Ariel Helwani had a tremendous gaffe at the end of this one.
Take that, Uriah. That's what
Jake-
happens when you don't come on the show.
He was like, "Oh, who wants to see?" As he was interviewing Julio in the cage, he was like, "Who wants to see Julio versus Jake Paul next?" And everyone was like, "Boo!"
Hey, you're all a bunch of mentions.
Yeah, he was
I'll
like,
never
"Come
have you
on,
on the
guys, it's a
podcast
good
again."
fight." I'm like, come on.
I mean, come on, you guys. It's the match to make. I'll have him on my podcast soon.
You probably fucking will.
Do this for me, you guys. I'll be on there with Sky Nicholson. What a match.
There was another fight in which Mr. Lucas Body.
Wait, hold
Got
on.
a KO.
There's a few comments down in the chat. Have we read those yet?
Yeah,
Just got to make sure the
put 'em
people's
up on the
voices
screen.
are heard. All right. Coolio. Went with the Wolf Onis. Didn't have the balls to go too far. They might not let me in if I roll up as Pikachu or Tigger. T-I-double-G-R. That's Tigger. Rawr.
But yeah, so Body or whatever, I don't know.
I'm
He
not
got
your
his,
buddy, friend.
He got a vicious KO of Ashton Siley. H2O, I guess is the guy's name. I don't know.
H2O.
This was Jake Paul's prospect that was being propped up for this card. He was winning the fight pretty handily, if you ask me. It was a decent affair, but gosh, he got fucking straight up folded and face planted by Mr. Lucas Body. One thing I really do not like about this guy is his nickname is Prince, and he's kind of like trying to do a Prince Nassim thing.
Nassim, yeah.
Again, Prince Nassim, everybody fucking loves Prince Nassim. But come on, dude, that's gimmick infringement.
Yeah. And you're nowhere near Prince Nassim's level. You don't even have the kind of fight style that he had.
Oh yeah, exactly. But geez, and fuck, this was a bad fucking KO. Ashton was in good spirits, posting on Twitter after the fight, but shit, dude, he got folded.
I mean, this was domination for most of it, and then Body he pulled a Marquez and just hit him with that perfect shot that just laid him out like a fucking mannequin, dude. And it was a sight to see, dude. I didn't even see it; it was so fast. But sometimes you got a guy right on the temple, and it's just that's the lights off.
I had to go back and check it out on the replays and the highlights on Twitter and shit. But geez, that was knockout. One of the knockouts of the year for sure. Amanda Serrano then had this really weird fight with somebody that should not have been in there. And No Chill had a great point. He's like, how did this fight even get sanctioned? Not to mention, if you see the odds here, she was a minus 4,000 favorite, guys. I mean, geez.
Yeah.
The fight was halted in the second round mercifully after Stevie Morgan had only managed to land 7 punches on Amanda Serrano, to the tune of Amanda landing like 60 or 65. Should have never happened. Terrible fight, terrible booking, but got Amanda Serrano a win after she had to pull out of her fight in Puerto Rico.
But what was the real highlight of that fight was what was happening before it, because Rush Hour was covering the action during the walk-ins, and a certain MMA journalist called in to the live stream complaining about Rush Hour's takes towards this boxing card and his feelings about it. And I tell you what, Hank Wani really laid into him, and he's got to get the money for that Buffalo Bills game, man. And he's trying to take. Hey, you're taking everything I worked for, motherfucker.
I mean, we take everything I work for. What
Speaking
the heck,
of
you guys?
taking
I'm not
everything
supposed to.
that somebody works for. Jake Paul got a TKO over Mike Perry. Yeah, it happened. We watched it. We covered it. Hank did a fight companion for it. I did a whole fucking post show for it. Yeah, man. The Jake Paul celebrity boxing MMA crossover train continues to just chug along the tracks, and
for better or worse.
Yeah, I mean, credit to Mike Perry. He's tough. He never. Am I short on this age? Like, fine wine. I'll have to check that out.
He was saying that Jake Paul was gonna beat the shit out of Mike Perry for like weeks. Like, he called this shit. I talked with him about it too, and I said it's a matter of whether Perry's gonna get finished or not. It's not whether he's gonna win against Jake. So he had a good take on this fight from the jump. So he called it.
Yeah,
so did I.
Said Perry was going to get slapped, and that is exactly what happened. From round one, you could see pretty quickly that this was going to be a bad night for Mike Perry. I knew right away because he started throwing punches like this when he got into range, and he didn't have the correct guard that you need for a boxing match. He was really flat-footed.
Bad footwork.
Square. Off balance, even when he wasn't getting punched. Bad MMA Math says, I'm amazed he made it to the 6th.
He's got that Mike Perry chin. Are you kidding me? He basically made his living in the BKFC off of his chin. I wouldn't be surprised by that at all.
But even though it was sad and a pretty bad performance from Mike Perry, he was able to corner Jake Paul on occasion and land the left hand. He landed some decent shots on Jake, but I think this was the third knockdown. And after that, the ref had to call it. And I mean, I don't even fucking know. It's just depressing.
It was depressing. I mean, this was the second worst outcome we could have possibly imagined, other than Mike Perry getting flatlined in this. Thank God that he didn't. Thank God he didn't take away Mike Perry's chin. But he did knock him down quite a bit and beat him up, and he was cut pretty much all over his face. I will give credit to the cut men. They did a really good job at plugging up the cuts, because going into every round, Perry had a pretty clean face. I didn't see any moments where blood was coming out. So cut people did a good job and made sure that he looked good.
Yeah.
Into the rounds. Those are the true heroes of the
He
fight.
did land an illegal elbow at one point.
Yes,
he landed. Cut Jake Paul. It was pretty awesome.
But if Tyson Fury is able to land an illegal elbow in Ngannou and they don't see it, like they're not going to call it for this one. Even though you told me during the fight, Skatesman, that the referee for this fight was actually a professional who'd done a lot of major boxing fights before this one, but his timing wasn't good enough to catch that elbow. But Mike Perry, you called it right. He had his best work up against the corner, but going into like round 4, round 5, he had those opportunities and he just couldn't throw because he was gassed. Like Mike Perry, even though he's tough as nails, he has a pretty bad gas tank, and it showed in here. And he was on wobbly legs even when he wasn't getting hit. Like really bad balance. He was flat-footed, so every time a punch even hit the guard, he was like almost falling over. It was rough to watch. He looked like he was just getting bullied in there, and it makes complete sense because he's 2 inches shorter than Jake Paul, and he has less weight on him as well, less meat on the bone. So it was bully mentality from Jake Paul, the bad boy and the problem child. And he's a problem child outside the fucking ring as well. And I'd like to make an expose on that brat one of these days. But I'll just call the action here. Jake Paul was dominant from start to finish, I'd say. Looked every bit the dominant celebrity boxer he's been for the most part. When he's not fighting actual boxers. Tommy Fury's still on you, bitch. He's still got that win. Why don't you rematch him and see who's the better boxer? Let's see what happens, pussy.
Yeah, I don't think he's ever going to do that. And
No.
as far as what's next for Jake Paul, I mean, he does have a fight booked against Tyson.
That's going to be even worse. I think.
I don't know if that fight happens though. I'm gonna reserve judgment on that one until we do our preview show for it. But I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I really don't give a shit. Let's put it
Yeah.
that way. I don't really give a shit. Like this.
I'm sure he'll get some more old fogies from the woodworks to fight.
Yeah, I mean, what's more interesting to me is where Mike Perry goes from here. As Adam MMA Math is saying, like a lot of people are clowning Mike Perry for this one. I don't really. I think he fought as good as he could. You know, he did show up for this one on relatively short notice. Some interesting things came out after the fight in the form of Conor McGregor tweets.
Conor McGregor.
And said he's fired from BKFC and all this.
Fucking bullshit, dude. He's your biggest star. You're gonna fire him?
Yeah, I mean, Mike Perry. I mean, really.
Hey, Connor. After your boxing fight with Floyd Mayweather, maybe Dana White should have cut you from the fucking promotion after you stalled out for 2 years and lost your belt, bitch.
Mike Perry really just revitalized his career going into BKFC. Brought a lot of excitement to the to BKFC, so much so that I actually went to go watch his fight live with Eddie Alvarez in Salt Lake City. But I mean, to be honest, man, BKFC doesn't need Mike Perry. I know that might not be something you might agree with, but they'll do just fine without him.
Definitely helps. Add some star power to it. I think it would still be a bad decision if they did.
No, I understand. You know, they got. I mean, they are definitely lacking in star power. I'll give you that. But I mean, I don't think he gets cut. If he did, I'd be kind of surprised.
Yeah. Then they could take any fighter from Karate Combat and just put him there in bare knuckle, and maybe once in a blue moon they'll find a star in there. You never know. It's not that hard. But there aren't a lot of guys like Mike Perry. That's for sure.
So yeah, man. I mean, that was the weekend. I mean, there was some good things going on and regional wise. The MMA, the UFC actually delivered a decent card. Andrew says maybe next time against Conor, I want that to happen. What? Oh,
again, like Paul versus Conor or Perry versus Conor? I don't know.
You know what, Andrew? One thing I know about him is he just wants to see violence. That's all he cares about.
Hey, that's based. For that's what the B stands for in Andrew B. It's for Andrew Based. Everybody.
But yeah, I mean, we got some good shit to look forward to upcoming. This fight night was
for American fans, for the fans in the U.S. That's for sure.
For my anime fans, this fight night in the UFC was not canon; it was filler.
Well, pretty good though. That's
fucking Jake Paul, man. This motherfucker, man.
Yeah. And we had some really good stuff for regional MMA too, like lots of highlights to go back and watch. So when you're waiting for the pay-per-view on Saturday, scroll through Twitter and find all those promotions because they got some highlight KOs.
He wants Perry versus Conor. All right. Well, that'll never happen.
Could be it might actually be 4D chess promotion. Like I wouldn't put it past Conor. He is more of a spokesperson for BKFC than anything.
UFC, MSG. Conor McGregor, main event against Michael Chandler. Wait. Mike Perry.
It's Mike Perry with the money in the bank briefcase.
At 185.
Yeah, I'm coming in on short notice. I may be a million inches taller than you, Conor. I may have a weight advantage, man. I'm not taking that hydration test or nothing. I come in the weigh-ins. Well, let's go catch weight, brother. I'll beat your ass. I got that animal in me.
I can see some weird shit like that happening.
Yeah. And timing beats speed. Speed beats power. Oh my God, my bear goes down. What a shame.
Well, shit, man. I mean, I think we wrapped it up pretty good. I don't really have anything else to talk about. What about you, my friend?
Well, we're going to go from one strange-eyed freak to another in the main event of UFC 304. It's Vernon Jandaroba gets a main event, and now Bilal Muhammad gets a main event. God help us all. Will it ever end? Can we please get some aesthetic physiques in here?
I mean, it's like just while we got time. I mean, I think we went through the show pretty quick. Let's just check out the card real quick.
This
Obviously,
is a stacked card. This has one of the most exciting main cards of the year for the UFC, in my opinion.
Obviously, you got Leon versus Bilal in the main event. Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades in the co-main, which should be the main, and it should be for the full title. But
yeah,
Bobby Green versus Paddy Pimblett, that'll be good.
Dana hasn't blazed Jones enough.
I think that CLD versus Gregory Rodriguez is kind of a strange card placement.
Yeah, it'll still be fun.
Yeah, Arnold Allen Chikadze,
that'll be a war.
Awesome. Mokaev Kopp, which you alluded may not be happening. Daniel Wood finally back against Daniel Pineda.
He's been gone too long, man. He's a solid prospect.
Yeah, I mean, his nickname is the Prospect.
But he got screwed over by Naimov because of those fucking cage grabs.
Molly McCann versus Bruto Silva. Calvin Logren versus Jake Hadley.
Well in lad.
Everybody's favorite, Mick Parkin, 9-0 versus Lucas Brzezinski.
Oh, boy, you're bringing back PTSD with that one.
Put all your money on Mick Parkin, you guys.
Yeah, and put all your money on fucking Walter Walker or whatever the fuck his name is. That stupid bitch.
Oban Elliott, Preston Parsons, Sam Patterson versus Kiefer Crosby. That'll be a good fight.
Yeah.
Shanna Bannon versus Elise Ardeline. And Modestas Bukauskas Marcin Prachnio, which
let's go Bukauskas.
Most people will be up for. Yeah, I mean, this this pay-per-view is going to be great. I won't be paying for it. But,
hell no.
Chad Leeway.
The only one paying for this one is the UFC. They'll never let him back in Britain again.
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking hilarious that they're screwing over the fans by having this card so late in the UK. But you know what? We won the revolution. We won the war. And suck it, UK.
You get special privileges. Yeah, I think it's in the Constitution somewhere that UFC gets to have its shows at 4 a.m. in Britain as compensation for all the lives that.
But in all seriousness, it's fucking stupid. I don't know why they're doing that.
Yeah. Because we need those U.S. fans in there. They're our home base. And if you don't know, now you know. We got to support our president, and we got to support our American people.
I mean, the Tom Aspinall versus Curtis Blades thing is really a tragedy. Should be for the full title, man. I don't understand it. If it was anybody else, they would have already stripped him, and this would have been for the full title. Yeah. I mean, they did the same. They did this to Francis Ngannou.
Yeah, exactly. Wouldn't it be sort of funny if they just treated Jones like Ngannou, and then he leaves for like boxing, and they're like, "Oh, Tom Aspinall, he's the GOAT. He's the greatest heavyweight pound for pound of all time, ever." And if you don't say that Tom Aspinall's the best,
they need that Stipe fight for John's legacy for some fucking reason.
Bullshit legacy. If anything, this is hurting his legacy. The more he's fucking out, and the more people see the light that he's taking this fight just as a fucking layup. Now the truth is out. People used to think, oh, that'll be a fun dream matchup a couple years ago, right? But now he's old man fucking Stipe, who hasn't had a win since before the fucking pandemic. So I think every single fan, even the casuals, know that this is a layup for Jones. So this is adding nothing to his legacy. If anything, it's making it worse. Just like the Rays fight.
Yeah, 100%. What else do we got next weekend? Kind of curious.
Let's give it a look. We hope we got some nice regional MMA.
Joyce versus Sora. I mean, two
more
Cage
Warriors. Woo!
Two kind of watchy guys. I mean, hey, this might be a good opportunity for you to fight companion on Thursday. I believe Karate Combat is on that day as well, so that might actually be fun. I might be willing to join you for that one. Sure. Oh shit! And then Super Ryzen 3. Oh my gosh! This is gonna be fucking a banger right here.
And not trash.
Ren Hiramosa,
the Asakura brother,
Agikubo.
That Japanese Sean O'Malley.
I don't think. Hold on a second. I want to go. to this page because there is some crazy
PFL,
stuff
woo!
going on Super Ryzen. Oh shit, Koji. I'm a big Koji fan, and this is a
Nice.
kick. I think this is a kick. No, this might be a
Looks
MMA
like
fight.
MMA.
John Dodson on the card. Ty
Bare
Emery.
knuckle boxing. Woo!
Are you familiar
that'd be
with-
fun.
Are you familiar with Ty Emery?
I'm not. Oh wait, no. Is she the influencer?
No.
OnlyFans
Ty
girl?
Emery.
What?
What
What
does
does she
week
do?
in Ryzen? Same here, man. I'm gonna be staying up late for that one, and fuck it, let's do a post show. I'll do a post show for you guys.
Give me the
Ty
context.
Emery is a woman who I think when one of the BKFC cards in Thailand, she knocked a girl out and then she flashed the crowd.
Wow, Derek Lewis style.
I mean, no, she fully exposed her breasts. to the crowd.
Wow, based.
But this is really
Oh god.
the interesting fuckery that Ryzen likes to pull.
Fucking circus.
45-year-old Manny Pacquiao
Oh my god.
is gonna box in a three-round boxing match.
Custom rules. No, it's gonna be like boxing and then MMA and
No,
then
it's
boxing,
not. It's
right?
gonna be a boxing match.
Oh, Jesus. Against a
again-
0-1 guy.
Versus Ryuka Onpo. I don't even know. I'm not familiar with this man.
God. Do I dare look?
He's
down at-
0-1 in Ryzen? Oh, it's because he's a
that's
kickboxer.
Oh, so they're just gonna take away the kickboxing from him.
I'm interested. So he's done some
Good.
kickboxing with Ryzen. Oh, he was on the match. The match was Tenshin versus Takeru. He was on the
That's pretty
undercard
good.
of the match. K1. His last win was in a K1 GP.
Oh yeah. By the way, Idaho, how did you feel about that KO win from Tenshin on the Nakatani card? Apparently, he had a fucking slick KO.
I mean, it's necessary for Tenshin to get those lower level competitors to build up his resume. I don't know, dude. I mean, I credit Tenshin for transitioning to another sport and looking good in it.
Mhm.
I'm not really gonna give Tenshin a lot of credit or attention until he really does more work in the sport of boxing. Listen, I'm a huge Tenshin Nasukawa fan. Kickboxing, that is. But and I'm still kind of mad at him that he can't ship his Team Tenshin shirts over to the United States. What the fuck, man? Get your shit straight, bro.
It's just with a lot of these Japanese superstars, they want to keep the sales in Japan because that's where it's most popular. But it makes no sense because if you actually distributed your stuff in America, they'd actually buy your albums, and if anything, you'd make more money.
Yeah, I had to buy a rip-off Team Tenshin shirt from some weird website, and I rocked that thing. But the shit faded really quick after a few washes. I was pretty bummed, so turned into a work shirt. But no, man, I mean, good on him. Fuck, don't let me rain on your parade. But I mean, giving Tenshin cans to knock out. I mean, might as well just go back to Ryzen and.
That's true. Yeah.
If you want to, I don't know if you know, but the stuff that Tenshin was doing in Ryzen at the end, oh my gosh, dude.
Embarrassing.
How many times can you have a kickboxing match with Shiro? Okay, first of all. Not only that, he would box 3 men, right?
At one Eddie Hall style?
Yeah, he would box Shiro. No, not at once, but he would box Shiro, and then another guy would come in and he'd box him, and then another guy would come in and he'd box him.
Gauntlet.
And it's what are we doing, man? Just go rematch Rodtang. That's all. That's really why I'm mad at Tenshin.
yeah.
Okay, I'll be honest. That's really why I'm pissed off at Tenshin.
That'd
He
be a dream
fucking
fight.
smoked Takeru in the match in 2022, and
Mhm.
then he never pressed for that rematch with Rodtang. I think
Yeah,
that
everybody's scared of Rod Tang.
hey man,
Everybody except
you
guys.
know
who can
what we
beat.
should do? Straight up,
What?
you know what we should do? fucking settling the score. Tension versus Rodting. We should rewatch that one for the guys. Maybe sometime in the next few weeks, and we should rewatch that one because when I first watched it, I was like, oh, Tension smoked it, and then I kind of got more hip to Muay Thai and kickboxing, and I was like, I think Rodting might have won this one. And that's why they had that special extra round to decide it.
Well, in this case, it wouldn't be settling the score between ourselves. It would be Idaho Skatesman settling the score within himself in his inner mind. So we're going to help Skatesman be at ease.
Have you ever seen that fight?
I have not seen that fight before, so it would actually be a treat for me to watch it.
We should fucking do that.
And I'd give you my blind reaction to the fight and how I'd score it first time.
But anyway, I think that's it for us, man. You got anything else to say to the people?
What I got to say is look forward to next weekend. Like you should always look forward to next weekend. I said this during my fight companion, but never miss out on a card, man. If someone tells you it's trash or that it's not worth watching, that means it's probably going to be a surprise gem, or it's going to blow your expectations out of the water. Because I've been noticing, man, with these pay-per-views that are coming up for these professional organizations, they almost always shit the bed, whereas the ones that nobody expects to be a hit ends up delivering. So that's why you stay an MMA junkie and you consistently stay around for events, because they more often than not, they will surprise you for better or for worse. So,
I mean,
fan.
I disagree. Get a hobby. Don't watch MMA. It's bad for you.
Touch grass.
Yeah, touch grass every once in a while, man. You don't need to catch every single fight like us. You know, we do this for you guys. So
yeah, and we do it for a job. You know, we're getting paper. Not yet, but we are.
Get a hobby. Let us cover it for you. Let us.
Hey, forget about it.
Hey, forget about it, Vinny. Yeah, get some gabagool while you're at it.
Yeah, I didn't kill his dog. The dog killed me. You know, he was killing me.
He says can't miss one at all. If you do, you'd be sad.
Yeah. There isn't one mud I haven't come across in my route.
Don't miss one of our shows, man. We're going to give you more content. We're ramping up. We're ramping up the content here, man. We got a post show for you. Hank is doing Fight Companions now, live chats. I'm working on my own live chat here soon, so stay tuned, you guys. And
soon enough, we're going to be the fucking content kings, man.
And I believe Hank has a special message for you guys.
You have escaped the war zone. For now. Run, Mike Tyson, run! I mean, limp! Crawl!